Hopefully you can hear me okay. Oh, let me know if you can't see the screen I'm sharing or if you can't hear. Um, I'll be manning the chat. So if you have any questions during this, you feel free to put the chats in or to communicate with each other or talk about things. Um, also, I do ask that if you're not talking or you're not asking questions, which you feel free to raise your hand and talk, to please mute. Uh, oh, I hear the sirens going off now. It is exactly noon in Little Rock. Anyway, um, we haven't really done this kind of workshop before. So I'm just going to introduce myself and then my coworkers will kind of take over. This particular workshop is going to look at the grant portal system and some technical issues that we use to navigate the application process for most of our grants. So the Arkansas Arts Council is a mostly grant-making institution. We give out roughly 1.8 million annually to tax-exempt organizations, nonprofit organizations, and individual artists. So today we will not be focusing on the individual artists. If you're interested in that, there's another workshop at noon on Friday, and that's specifically for the fellowship awards. So if you're looking for that $5,000 grant for up to 18 creatives in 6 different categories, we're going to go in depth into that particular program on Friday. This program, which covers arts and education and adult learning education and also community engagement projects, those kinds of grants, those are the ones that we'll be going over today and using the grant portal and the technical system. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask those. Let's see. And I guess we can, I guess we can get on the way. Thank you so much for being here again. I'm going to let my coworkers take over from here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brazier Watts. I'm the Grant Programs Manager here at the Arkansas Arts Council. Again, we are happy to have you here this afternoon. As Scarlett mentioned, we're going to go through the process. This is what we get our most questions from is where to find the grant, questions about the actual process of registering in our grant portal, going through our grant portal. As we go through this morning, as Scarlett mentioned, you can ask questions as we go through it. Please do, as a matter of fact. But also as we're going through the portal, we will discuss some of our grant opportunities. You may see some things on here that interest you and that you have questions about. Make sure to write your questions down and put them in the chat. So not only will we go through the process of getting in our portal, but we will talk about some of the opportunities that we have. And now I'm going to turn it over to Matt Boyce, who is our Arts and Education Programs Manager, and he's going to get us started going through this process. Also, I want to give a shout out to Brandy Thrower. She's our Grants Administrator, and she has been helping us to develop this process for you today.
Thank you, Brazier. Once again, hi, everybody. My name is Matt Boyce. I'm the Arts and Education Programs Manager here at the Arkansas Arts Council. And we're going to walk through, as Brazier said, some of our grants, exactly what they are, and then how to access them in the portal and the technicalities behind that. As you can see on your screen, the majority of our grants and grants from other state and federal agencies are awarded to nonprofit or tax-exempt organizations that can be schools, libraries, churches, or any sort of city or local governments. These are the organizations that we award the grants that Brazier and I manage, that we award them to. Scarlett handles the individual artist grants, which you mentioned. And again, if you're looking for that, please come back on Friday at noon for that workshop. So we're going to get going through the slides real quick before I share my screen and get to the portal. Yeah, why we're here. We're here to help you navigate the portal. As Brazier said before, grant portals, they can be confusing. And once we break them down for you, hopefully you have the tools and knowledge to better understand how our grant processes work. They're not all as scary and complex as you might think they will be, as a lot of grants are outside of our agency. And hopefully this helps you and your organization that you're affiliated with better understand our system. So that's why we're here. Okay, so what is Foundit? Foundit is the name of our grants portal. You can find it at arkansasarts.org. Once we get into the portal, I'll show you and break all this down for you, but this is just an overview of what we're going to go through today. You're going to decide what types of grants you need. Once we pull up that list, we'll go through those individually. Click apply, help you create an account, and then navigating your grant and where all the necessary documentation will be. All of our grants have 2 phases to them. We have our application phase, and then once the programs are completed, we have what we call follow-ups. So we'll go through all that and navigate and tell you where to find that within your grant portal once your account is created.
And as Matt is moving on to that, I do want to mention that Foundin is actually a company. Some of you are already familiar with them, but they actually produce our grants management system. They run and manage our grants management system that we use for applicants to apply for grants. So they're not really connected. They're not a state agency. They're not connected with us. We hire contract with them. The Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, period, contracts with them just for the purpose of grant management. C3. Hold on. So this is okay. I guess
Sarah asked do the types of organizations include 501c6 or such as a chamber of commerce.
Okay, here's the deal. Just regular 501c6 organizations, no. Chambers of commerce, yes, because they're also, for us, considered a government agency. Okay, so so that's a yes and no question, actually.
Okay, so when you go to our website, this is what will pull up, and Scarlett has created a short video for us on where exactly to click. So you can find our website 2 ways, through the Heritage site or directly at arkansasarts.org. And is this playing? Okay, this is playing. Hold on. Sorry. Can you rewind it a little bit, Scarlett? Thank you. So if you follow through, so you're going to want to look in the top left of your corner, about, and then click grants. And this is going to show you what you're going to see on that page. Okay, Scarlett, go ahead. So once you click the grants page, it'll show you some of our deadlines for our major grants. And then if you're interested in community arts project, you'll click that. It'll have all the necessary information there for that. And we can break this down for you too. And you'll click apply now. And now here, if you pause it for a second, this is the login for Foundit right here. As you can see, it has all of our agencies listed at the top. All, as Brazier said before, through Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. All of our grants are done through this, and this is where your login is going to be. And if you do not have an account, this is where you can create an account as well. We have an example account that we're going to go through here in a bit too. You're playing it again? Yep.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is what I mentioned before, how you can see at the top how you can get to our website through Arkansas Heritage and then click on our logo, or you can directly go there through arkansasarts.org. Yep. All right, Brazier, do you want to talk about this section real quick?
Sure. So this is what happens when you click on create an account. It's going to bring you into what we consider our registration page. And this is the information that you're going to need. You're going to need the name of your organization. Now, you're doing this for your organization. And I want to make that plain because sometimes we have people that think they're supposed to put their own information on this page. But no, there will be another page for contact information. You are the actual contact, but first you want to register your organization. It's the usual information. You will have to have your organization's tax ID, EIN number. Okay, the tax ID number. Website. Let's go over here to UEI number. Some of you already know that if you've applied for federal grants, probably now any kind of grants, people have started collecting this code. It's actually a code. There used to be a thing called a DUNS number. And most organizations, when you apply for a grant, they'd ask you for a DUNS number because that connects them to your federal government information. But now the federal government has switched to UEI number. And so if you do not have one, if you're a school or a school district, we can provide you with that code. Your finance office can provide you with it, or we can provide you with it. Anything other than a school, you would have to ask. If your organization has a finance office, you'd ask them, they would know. And if you just do not have one, then you can click there and it will take you to the federal government website, the SAMS.gov website, so that you can register. Now, there is a long process with the SAMS.gov that you don't have to do. This is a short process. And when you get to the website, it will tell you if you only want to register for a number, click over here. Sometimes it takes a day or two. Some people get it instantly. Sometimes they ask you extra questions depending on what type of organization you are. You do not have to have this at this particular time to register your organization. So if you get ready to fill out an application, you're like, oh, okay, I guess I can't continue. I don't have a UEI number. No, it will allow you to skip this for now. But you have to understand that you still need to go in and apply. And once you get the number, you need to email it to us and we will add it for you. But you will receive no funds whatsoever if you do not eventually get a UEI number to us. We're just not allowed. Everything else, telephone number, organization, longitude and latitude, it's a place to click for you to find these numbers. I know that seems weird, but our funder, the National Endowment for the Arts, our federal funder, they require us to get this information because they actually track the locations of the reach of their funding. So they like to know how far their funding is reaching. And so that is the reason for that. They actually plot everywhere where their funds are being used. And so they want those numbers. I think
And, and
everything.
you could see in the chat, Brandy dropped in the link to the UEI number if you wanted to do that. Um, you can save that link as well.
And everything else is just regular information. Now, this next page, as I said, this is where you would put your information, whoever the contact person is going to be for this grant. And it's very important that you put somebody that's going to be checking their emails because everything we do is by email. So if we send you something saying, hey, this is not correct, it's going to go to the email that we have on file. So make sure you put someone who's really good about keeping up with their email. This particular page, mostly this is for, as you see up there, it lets you know if you already, some people get in this and they don't realize they already have an account, and it prompts you to let you know that, hey, you may already have an account. Um, and then they just ask questions about who you are, the person that's completing, what your title is, and how you represent the organization. Then you will be creating a password. This password will be used to get you into your account. The username is always your email address, the email address of the person, of the contact person. And then you'll create your own password. Um, and that's it for that.
Okay, I think we can switch over to my screen now, Scarlett, because after registration is done, this is the page that we're going to see. So we can come back to this slideshow in a moment. Okay, can you all see my screen? Yes? Okay. So once your account is created, we get this question all the time, but your homepage is going to look very, very blank because you haven't done anything yet. There's nothing here yet. So we created this dummy account to show you your end of things because we have an admin side to things that looks a little bit different. So as you can see, it's going to ask for an access code up here. Listed first on that list is Arkansas Arts Council. Our code is AAC. So we're going to type that here in the top right in a second. But if there are other grants that you're interested that are with the other departments, all of their codes are listed here. We have public art grants, preservation grants, everything, small museum grants, everything is listed here. But as you can see, ours is up here. So I'm going to go ahead and type in that code, AAC, click enter. Now, here's the biggest question we get is once you click enter, it looks exactly the same, right? Like nothing changed. But in reality, all you need to do is scroll down. And now here's where all of our grants are. Our first two grants, I'll let Brazier talk about those in a second. I'm going to go down to an arts and education grant, and I'm going to click on one of our mini grants. So our mini grants are our 10-day or less programming where we use an AIE artist. The presenter has to have an AIE artist listed. And this is for up to $2,000 per project. And as you can see, there's a one-to-one cash, a one-to-one match, and it can be 50% of that can be cash, and the other 50% can be in kind. So this is the kind of technicalities of what each grant is right here before you click on it, so you know that you have it. And you'll see that the dates too above for submission are here. These grants run every month of the year except for September, and that's listed up here. Right, so we're going to click apply. And then all of your information that was entered, the applicant information, as Brazier mentions here on the top left, organizations here, make sure that's all correct. As Brazier said, it's very important that our applicant contact is valid. So when we get down to here, Brazier, you want to talk through the first part of this, and then I'll get to the paragraphs, stuff like that.
Sure. So again, this information that you're seeing, these questions, they are we collect data for our funders. And so first of all, it's asking the application status, choose what type of organization you are. Most of you all will be choosing a nonprofit. Or yeah, most of you would be choosing nonprofit or either one of these state or federal organizations. Legislative information. People always get kind of, it seems like it may be a pain, but our local representatives also like to know who's getting funding in their areas. And so we have links here so that you can look up this information. Your state house representative, we're not looking for their names, just their numbers, their district numbers. And So we have those links there for you to look those up, or you can Google and find your local representatives. So that is the reason for that.
Okay, and then for this particular grant, excuse me, um, you're going to write the name of the activity. It could be um, like we had the Eclipse project. It could be making Eclipse boxes, something simple. This is I'm going through this grant first because this is one of our simpler applications. It's just what you want to call the project. What is your programming going to be? And since this is for a mini grant, it can just be a day of art in the park, something like that. You put that here. You'll click residency only, and then here's where you'll have to have your AIE or Arts and Education roster person on here. This is who we check for to make sure that the artists you are hiring for this program, that they're actually on our roster. Otherwise, for this particular grant, we won't be able to approve them. Their art discipline, how many days, the start date, and then the end date. We get this question sometimes. The end date is actually pretty important because Foundant itself won't let you do your follow-up forms for your organization to be paid until that end date has come. So if you're up in the air about it and you're not sure and you put, I don't know, let's say August of this year, but in reality, you actually get the program in March, you're not going to be able to see any of your forms until that end date. So that's pretty important that we do that. And then here's just a brief program description of what the arts and education components are going to be, target groups, goals, how the art form will be integrated into the curriculum, character development, and desired outcomes. Really 500 characters or less. It's not super complicated. We just want a paragraph or two, just what the actual program is going to be. And if you have any partners, we have a lot of nonprofits that partner up with schools and things like that. If you have any organizations that are working together, we just like to see that here. And all of you are eligible for grant funds if you are do pass our charity check and our 501c3 or any of the other tax exempt organizations we mentioned. And then here is going to be where our budget forms are. I'm going to click on this one for now, even though all of our grants have slightly different budgets. This one's fairly simple. I should have pulled this up beforehand, sorry. So for this grant, as I said before, it is a one-to-one match. So if your mini grant request is $1,000 right here, here's what we allow for artists, mileage, meals, etc. All of these columns need to equal 1,000 down here. And then we have how much cash. So at least $500 will need to be matched by the organization here. And then in-kind can be volunteer hours, as you can see, facility rentals, planning, prep, and then the project total budget will go here. So if you're not seeing the budget, okay. Sorry, I'm just talking and no one can see what I'm doing. All right. Well, let me minimize that. Anyway, so you can look through that budget though once you get to the portal, and you'll be able to see all those things that I just discussed. Sorry, I don't know why I can't share that. And then Brazier, once we get to this section of the application, the W-9 form, does this have to be uploaded each time, or is it going to stay in the system?
They have to upload the W-9. Yes. Every time we need to see it because we do a charity check on it. So yes, we need to see your W-9.
And then here would be your request amount. Like I said, if you spend 1,000 in the budget, it needs to match here. And then the company account name and title. Okay. Would you like to walk through the Arts on Tour grant real quick, Brazier? I'll pull that up for you.
Okay, so the Arts on Tour grant, this is our grant opportunity for organizations to bring performing artists into their space. So we have a roster, a Arts on Tour roster. It's a roster of over 200 artists that have been vetted, and we consider them very good in their area of expertise. And so, and I mean, there are a lot of artists on there in a lot of different areas, from juggling to magicians to singers to dancers to visual artists. Um, there are a lot of different types of artists on the list. So we have organizations that want to bring in performers for whatever reason. Some schools want to bring them in, libraries, organizations that are having events that they want to include artists. And so we reimburse up to 40% of what the artist charges, the artist fees. Um, and it is definitely a reimbursement grant. So after you apply, you fill out the application, you're approved, then after your event is over, you go back in and complete the other documents, required documents. One of those is to upload a copy of either the canceled check or a form of payment of how you paid the artist to show the proof that you paid the artist. And then we reimburse you 40% of the artist fees, up to $2,000. And you can get up to $2,000 worth of refund. So that's not saying if I apply for an artist and he only charged me $300 and we pay the 40% of it, is my experience over? No, you can keep going until you reach that $2,000 reimbursement amount, and then you can apply for as many as you want. But after that, after you reach that amount, then that's the limit. So let's look at the application. It's a very quick application. Same information up top, so we don't have to go through that anymore. It's the same standard information. These are standard questions, legislators. So right here, you're going to put the name of the name of the organization or artist that you're using, because some on the Arts on Tour roster, there are some individual artists, but there are also groups and organizations. Okay, so you're going to put the name of it, Scarlet's Jugglers. Sound like it's going to be fun. And the contact person, all their contact information. Important is the event site. Where is this going to take place? Okay, that's important for us for our data collection also. Where is this going to happen? Okay, and so course start date, end date, and then we just want a description of the event. And there's a place right there for you to click so that you can get to the actual roster to find your artist if you don't already know who you're going to use and you want to find an artist. And then we just particularly want a description of the event. What is this person going to be doing? Or why did you choose this person is good information to provide for us. And most of all, whatever event you're having must be open to the public. This cannot be a private event, because these are public funds that we're using, public and federal, and so it needs to be an open to the public event. Even if, I mean, we do consider if a school is having an assembly and they have some of our artists there, or whatever, we still consider that a public event. Copy of the signed contract. Artists have their own contracts. So you would want them to email, you would come into agreement with them on all your specifics. And they need to email that. Some of them are just a little one-page understandings between you and them, but we need you to upload a copy of that contract, because we need to be sure that they are in agreement with doing this presentation for you. So we need a copy of the contract.
Brazier, we have a question about public.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Can people sell tickets to the events, or do the events also need to be free?
They do not need to be free. Yes, you can sell tickets to the event. They do not need to be free events. Just one thing specifically is that um, it doesn't need to be free. If you are having some type of, like we have people that's mentioned there, we have people that have fundraisers and you're selling tickets for that, that's fine. But there is one stipulation. The artist has to be the showcase of the fundraiser. So people have to actually be coming to see the artist. So the artist can't just be there for showmanship, to be in the corner playing while you're doing something else. No, it has to be, this is our fundraiser. Come and see Scarlett juggle. She's a great juggler. I mean, it has to be about Scarlett juggling. It can't be Scarlett's going to be juggling over in the corner while we do other things, right? So they have to be the focus of the event, even though you're raising funds. This question, let's go back over to this eligibility question, because this is a question that is required of us from federal government, is that you are in good standing. Your organization is in good standing. Some of you may know, some people get a 501c3 and they don't keep up with the activity that goes along with it when it comes to their responsibility to the federal government, or they may have been, their 501c3 may have been stripped from them. We need to know that you're still eligible, an eligible 501c3 organization. You haven't been, your organization hasn't been, or employees haven't been disbarred or suspended as far as the federal government is concerned. So that's why we asked that question. Subsidiary calculation, that just you're going to put in how much you actually paid the artist, and or how much you're going to pay the artist, because you have to do this application within 10 days before your event. Sometimes we have emergencies and an artist will go to an organization and it's like 5 days before the event. Sometimes we'll make exceptions and go ahead, but ideally we'd like for you to get this in 10 days before your event happens. So you'll put in how much you're going to pay and then how much you're requesting. Remember, you're only requesting 40% of what you paid, not the entire amount. And then who's ever authorized to sign, which it would be the contact person. We don't need any special signatures. We just type in your name, your title, and the date. That's it. And you submit the application. After you submit the application, as Matt mentioned, you'll get an email telling you whether you've been approved or not. If you've been approved, it will explain to you the next step, which is after your event is over, sign back into your account and complete these two available documents. There will be two documents, a program evaluation that will ask questions about what happened during the event, and then there will be our invoice form. Let me say that again. This is our invoice form. It's not we don't need an invoice from you. Some people get it confused and they're like, well, where do I upload my invoice? All we need you to do is click on that form, click on the word edit, and complete the information that we need you to complete on the form. It's our invoice form. And that's it. Be aware that we are a state agency, so you won't get the money in 2 days, most likely. We have converted to our finance office are in the process of converting everyone to direct deposit. And so that makes things a little bit faster, but then it also includes an extra step that you'll have to do, which is to register as what's called a vendor with our, some of you shake your head like, yeah, I've been through that. Well, I'm sorry. But you have to now register as a vendor. And there's a link that'll be on the forms when you fill them out that'll ask you. And our grants administrator, if she sees that you're new or you're not in our system, she will sometimes send you an email after you've been approved saying, hey, we need you to go ahead and register so that you can be already in the system when it's time to process your paperwork. Um, I don't know a lot about how all that works because this is separate from us. This is our accounting office. So this is separate from us. We just know that you have to be registered for them to be able to pay you. Any other questions? Okay.
Scarlett, if you want to go back to the slides where we left off.
Oh, wait a minute, Brandy. I think Brandy wants to say something.
Oh,
Well, you want to add something, Brandy?
yes, I just want to add one thing. Although yes, we do with the Arkansas Arts Council, you are supposed to give us your W-9, but with the new Arkansas State Grant Portal, you're also, well, not Grant Portal, but Vendor Portal, you're supposed to email them your W-9 as well. So you're going to be sending your W-9 to both of us. But with the state portal, you only do it one time and one time only, unless you have to update any information, whether it's phone number or address, you will have to send them another W-9 to update that information. And when you do that, please be sure to contact us to update your address and contact information, because if we send any payments over there and we have two different addresses and we aren't sending it to the correct address, it's going to bounce back and you won't get your payment, and it could take a few months to receive it. So just be sure to do that, all of that. W-9 to both parties and update any information with the both of us.
Thank you, Brandy. So at the top of the page here, you'll see um, some thoughts that some grants will ask for an artist from our Arts and Ed and Arts on Tour rosters. The Arts and Ed mini grant application would be a perfect example of that for using the AIE roster, Arts and Education roster, and then the Arts on Tour roster, as Brazier just went through that. Those specific grants, anything that has to do with arts and education, whether it's a mini grant or major grant, you will need to utilize that roster, and then the Arts on Tour roster for the Arts on Tour reimbursement grant as well. And we do have a community engagement project that does not require an artist on our roster. Brazier, if you want to just give like a brief overview of that. I know we covered this on Monday, but of what the community engagement project is.
Sure. So one of our grants is the Community Arts Project Grant. And what it is, it's a grant for up to $10,000 to bring in a project or a program, an arts project or program into your community. Examples are we fund all types of festivals that that bring art into their festival. They have arts workshops, or they have artists that they need to pay for whatever arts presentation, singing, dancing, performing, or doing workshops. And so we find some mural projects that have an education piece to them, where maybe the muralist is using the public to teaching the public about murals and how murals are done. And at the end, they're going to be doing a mural project, a hands-on mural project. But it's any type of arts project or program that's going to be open to the community. It's just a way of using funding to expose more people to the arts. Um, and that application must be in at least 60 days, 2 months before your event takes place, because it is a long process, because these applications are actually reviewed. Unlike the mini grant, our smaller grants, Arts on Tour, those are not panel reviewed, but this one is. And so I encourage you to call us and say, hey, I am thinking about bringing this project. I'm thinking about doing this project in my community. I'm thinking about what will this fit? What do you think? This is a grant that is matched. It's matched 1-to-1. So if you apply for $5,000, we expect you to be able to match it, but all of it doesn't have to be cash. Only 50% has to be cash. So $2,500 of it can be cash that you're receiving from sales of tickets, from other contributors, from yourself. But 2,500, the other 2,500 can be in kind. So what do I mean by in kind? Things that are donated that the grant will not be paying for that you can put a monetary value on. For example, volunteer hours. As we know, volunteers, I think they're getting almost $30, if not more, an hour. They're not getting that, but that's what can be attributed to their work is $30 an hour. So that could probably, some of you, that'll cover your in kind because you have so many volunteers. But people donate supplies and all type of things for these events, and you can put a monetary value on it and use that as part of your match.
And going back to what Brazier said about the panel review for our AIE major grants and the community engagement project grants, this tip section is really, really important since they're scored and your scores will determine your funding. So if you ask for $10,000 and you're most likely not going to get the full 10,000, but how you keep your writing clear and concise, and how you're going to be asked to do an outline, bio, project summary, etc. The clearer and the more put together your application, the more likelihood you'll get closest to your ask as possible. We make sure your project initiative program fits into the grant criteria as we explained before. Make sure that you're still eligible to receive funds. If you need to use an artist from the roster, make sure that roster artist is listed, and then make sure that, as Brazier just went through, the matches that you are matching. You can't just ask for $10,000 and not put a match in the budget form. We won't accept it, and we'll send it back to you to be fixed. So that's just some tips to go through as you're going through all of our different grants, just to make sure that you're reading the grant criteria and you're covering the matches correctly.
Also, we did have a question earlier about the rosters versus the artist registry. Just to be clear, the artist registry does not have any grants attached to it and is only an open and public non-vetted list of visual artists that we help market by giving them a web page. It's just free space. It does not have any grant. So if you are an artist and you would like to be part of the grant process, then you need to apply for the artist, one of the rosters, like Arts on Tour roster or the Arts and Education roster. We do have a question about the Community Arts Project Grant 60-day review period. And then after that, I guess we can move on to that. But I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, well, while Scarlett is thinking, I'll respond to Butterfly. Hi, Butterfly. Happy to see you. So yeah, no, it has to, we can do nothing about the 60-day review for community arts project grants. That actually is to help cover you and us, especially you, because we don't know, 60 days gives us ample enough time to make sure you get paid by the time your event occurs, because this process is a lot. So, well, not for you, but what we have to go through to fund these, we have to make sure we give ample time to make sure you will have the money in time for your event. So that's why we're just so hard about that it has to be in 60 days before your event.
And I did remember what I was going to say. We had a workshop specifically on all of our grant programs and services on Monday, and that is available on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in an overview of what we have available and specifics on the Community Arts Project grant and sort of what you can use it for, please go and see that particular workshop. This is more for technical questions. Thank you.
So, Sarah, the answer to your question is, so let's say you get approved for a community project grant and you need $5,000 and you were only awarded $3,000. Then you can say, okay, well, what else do they have that I can use to help in the funding of this? event. And yes, you could still go and apply for an Arts on Tour grant and get 40% reimbursement on some of the artists. You could apply for Arts and Education mini grant if they're doing a workshop and still get some funding to help to fund that. So right now, I can't say this always will be, but right now, yes, you can do them both. As money gets tighter, we might change that, but right now, uh, yes, you can do both for one event. Yes.
And then, real quick at the bottom of that slide, if you do have an event that you are approved for and you do receive grant funds for, whether it's arts and education program, which would be one of my programs, or community arts project, arts on tour, or GOS through Brazier, we do like to know what's going on in around the state and these programs. So we do occasionally like to do site visits. So if you are approved for any of these grants, uh, if you have a flyer or an invite or something, we like to get out there in the field and visit constituents and see programming whenever we can. So an invitation is always appreciated from our end.
Let me say this, even though we went through just one of our applications as far as you understanding that you'll get follow-up forms and all that, that's how all of our applications work. So that's why I was telling you how important it is that you have a good email in there. Because once you're approved, then you'll always receive the next steps. The next steps are always signed back into your account because there are documents there waiting for you. That's with all of our grants. It doesn't matter what grant you apply for. Uh, Once you get the notice that you're approved, you can sign back into your account and see that there are going to be documents uh, waiting for you to complete either after your event, or you'll have they will have their own deadline as to when these documents have to be turned in. So just keep that in mind. Applying for it is just the first step. Getting approved is the next step. But then you have to go in and address whatever the follow-up forms are.
I think we're going to open it up for any more questions. Anyone has one? If you'd like to raise your hand, or Scarlett will unmute you, or you can drop it in the chat.
We do have a lot of different workshops that are recorded on our YouTube channel, and including data collection and how best to represent the impact for your project or event. And so that's one of the things that is there. Brandy was kind enough to drop a link to that. So if you are interested in other aspects of the process, please visit our channel.
And I also must say we are very good at if we get your application and we see something that we can catch before it goes to a panel, if we're doing panels, then we will send you an email and say, hey, you may want to clean this up, or you may want to fix this before it goes to the panel, because we know they're going to be looking at that. So we try to help as much as we can. Now, those smaller grants, the smaller grants are in-house reviewed. So um, we definitely would send you something if we see something in error. We're not trying not to give money. We really are wanting to fund exposure to the arts in Arkansas. Um, and so we try our best to, if at all possible, unless there's just something that we can't get around, we try our best to work it out so that you'll be funded or receive some kind of funding. So
Yeah, for the mini grants, as I mentioned before, I look at them, and if there's not an AIE roster artist listed, I'll just send it back to you, back to draft, and let you know where the budget's wrong. Like Brazier said, I'm not gonna just flat out say no. This is just something you'll have to fix or change in order for me to approve it. So
I felt like y'all needed an inspirational quote. Google told me so. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? We if you wanted to, I think there's a way to save the chat at the bottom, or if you needed any other information, feel free to email us. We can all drop our emails in here. Y'all are so quiet. I thought there would be more. Oh, and Brandy is doing fantastic. She's dropped a link to some of the upcoming activities and events on our Eventbrite. So that includes some of the workshops we're doing and the fellowship presentation, which is Friday. Just we have a few more questions. We have a few more minutes. If you did want to ask a few questions, maybe you're just starting out or thoughts. Okay, well, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. Hopefully, you will apply for some grants or you will work with a nonprofit organization and help them apply for some grants. If you are an individual artist, we hope you go ahead and look up how to apply for some of the rosters. You can check out our YouTube channels for past workshops or sign up for upcoming workshops. We have a lot of different workshops that will address artist needs in the upcoming year. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You guys are fantastic. So have a great rest of the week. Bye.